Hello, everybody. My name is Maureen Mahoney. I am our client engagement specialist here at HPN. We will have Melissa Peck, who is our director of client service. But today we're going to talk about driving engagement within your learning management system. So we're going to talk about kind of the pieces that Joey shared from a content perspective, and we're going to actually take a deeper dive within the HPN University. So we will get started here. So how do we engage our advisors and managers? Just kind of a little bit about me quickly. I grew up in the industry. I've been with HPN for about 4.5 years now, but I have been using the HPN University since its inception, basically. I was working in the field, and my GA kind of just threw a stack of files in front of me. He said, Harry Hoopus has come up with this new idea, and we need to be a part of this, so figure it out. So really, we didn't even have half of the tools that we have today. And I know that if we did, the engagement would be even more as it is now. So, I'm going to take some of, what I put together, what I learned, and I've taken this into the university. And how do we get these advisors and the managers engaged and make it as easy for them as possible? So today, we're going to talk about a few different things. We're going to talk about the learner experience. So from the advisor perspective, as well as the manager's perspective. Again, we're making this as easy as possible for them. We want to start building habits, creating this culture of learning. We're also going to show you some of these turnkey manager tools. I'm going to kind of show you some quick tips and tricks and what I have done to engage and make this a very out-of-the-box experience for managers, or they can customize it to tailor their needs. And then finally, we're going to talk about communication and awareness. This is outside of the university. How do we bring awareness to all of these great tools and videos that we have that we're constantly developing in the university? It can be very overwhelming. So we're going to kind of just break this down and make this, a really, amazing experience for everybody. So let's just get right in. Let's go into the university and kind of show you, what we're talking about here. So I'm going to switch right now from our PowerPoint type presentation. So bear with me really quick, and I'm going to go straight into the university. So you should be able to see my screen. If you're not able to, just let me know. But I'm going to just move things around here. All right, great. So I am in the featured tab. This is the HPN University. We're live on the site right now. And as you can see, this is kind of our generic view. A lot of clients, they customize this to really make it a seamless look with your company brand and colors. So, but we're keeping this kind of at the HPN University blue. So right now I'm in the featured tab. So this is where I like to come. This is where I tell all of my advisors and all of my managers, every month you want to take a look at the featured tab, because while we do have so much content, where does one even begin? And this is where the featured tab is very important, because we have the brand new videos that we feature. So we have brand new October videos. We have some key courses that are really kind of hot right now. And then we have our content navigator. And this is where I'm going to kind of start, because, one of the major questions that we get from advisors and managers is, where do I even begin? How do I start using this tool? So this is where Content Navigator has come into play. And it's really going to direct you into the content that you're looking for. So, what are you looking for? I'm going to start right here, and it's going to ask you, are you an advisor? Are you a manager? Or are you manager curious? And, I say manager curious, giving some content to some advisors who are maybe kicking around the tires or, we're all in leadership development if you have your own business. So we've got a lot of leadership development stuff in here. But as a manager, we can go in and it's going to direct you to certain areas that you really kind of need to start with. So as the manager, are you taking the certification? Yes, no, can't remember. Again, we're making this as easy as possible. If I say no, it's going to take me straight into the certification program. If I say yes, that I've already done that, it breaks it down even further. Content around, that leadership content is going to direct you to a leadership area. So that breaks it down even more for the managers. Do you want some content to help you train your advisors? We'll get more into this, but it really breaks it down even further into weekly skill builders, assessments, one-on-one coaching. We'll get into that. Or, you need a refresher, which is some Q&A. I'm going to just take a step back and show you from an advisor standpoint. I'm going to go into an advisor. And again, are you under 3 years? Are you over 3 years? So under 3 years, do you want some sales skills, product knowledge, activity management? Again, we're breaking it down into the segments that we already have. So again, we're just narrowing down that field. And then if I want my prospecting videos, you see it has taken me into a brand new tab here. And it's going to take me into this greatest hits tab that you saw on our featured tab. However, the greatest hits, this is our top content around prospecting. These are all the top rated prospecting videos in which managers as well as advisors have rated as the best of the best. So I always tell the advisors, start with this greatest hits because your peers have rated this some of the best content in relation to prospecting, networking, etc., that we've put together in these greatest hits. So again, that's why that feature tab is such an important area, because it's all the kind of best content that we have highlighted on the university. So making it as easy as possible for advisors to get in and kind of navigate on their own what content that they would like to look for. Again, that's kind of from an advisor perspective. And then, these are just the, quick training, featured events, and then our buddy system, as Joey showed you, because this is all the content that we want to make it featured, ready to go for you guys. So moving on from the featured content of the university, if an advisor wants to kind of, now they've watched all the videos on the featured tab and they kind of want to dig a little deeper, this is where at the top left-hand corner, we're going to find the main menu. So as Joey said, we've got our sales skills, marketing, product knowledge. Product knowledge is non-proprietary information. This is really, how do you talk about life insurance to your prospects and clients? How do you bring up disability insurance? So really kind of the why, these power phrases that we're really going to give you from some of the top advisors in the country as well as the world, because we're filming all over the world now. Practice management, motivation. So these are where you'll find this kind of core content. So if I'm going into sales skills, I go into prospecting, and I want to know more about leveraging technology for prospecting. I can just go on in here. And then it's just going to load up the 4 videos that make up this course. So as an advisor, I can enroll myself, and I'll get email notifications to keep myself accountable for the courses that I really want to pay attention to. Or I can save it if I just want to kind of review it later and pop it in, and while I'm driving in the car, kind of listen to some language on my way to appointment, we can do that as well. And then for managers, they do have this enrolled others tab, excuse me. So this is kind of the content. You know, we want to make it, you know, easy for managers and advisors to kind of view content, get in the habit of maybe on a weekly basis, just kind of looking at what's new. That's what I used to do. Every month I'm like, what's new? What's new? What's new and coming? I want to know. So this is kind of where you'll find that. So I'm gonna kind of actually, what I want to do right now is I do want to do a quick poll before we get into the kind of these turnkey manager tools that we have. So the poll right now that I'm going to launch is, you know, to make it easier for managers to recommend learning opportunities. What % of managers say that they would encourage learning if they had a system that helped them recommend courses based on certain criteria? So take a quick little, take a guess, and, you know, we can kind of go from there, and I can kind of show you what kind of we're talking about right here. So just a couple more seconds. And all right, 3, 2, should I do a countdown? Okay. All right, I'm going to end polling right here, and you guys said 52%, and that is correct. So 52% of managers say that would be, you know, really great if they had a system that helped kind of encourage these learning stuff. So I'm going to stop share and get out of there. So the great thing about from kind of a manager perspective is we do have these two areas right here. I'm going to go into coaching resources, and this is coaching resources is one of the two manager tools that I think are probably some of the going to make the lives of managers so much easier. And as we're waiting to get, and you have to bear with us because it doesn't even fail. Every time you do a web demo, it takes just a little longer because we have an audience on the other side. So exactly, there we go. So when I say coaching resources, these are programs that HPN has put together to make this an out-of-the-box experience that managers can come to and assign out to their advisors. And it kind of depends on you know, where the advisor is in their career. So we have a couple of different programs. We have a HPN Pro series, and we have a Life Insurance Pro series, which is a series of 8 different life insurance specific videos. And after each video is a quiz, and an advisor can go in, watch a video, and we'll unlock a quiz, and then we'll unlock the next video. And pretty soon they will, once they pass all the quizzes, they will receive a certificate. So that is our Life Insurance Pro. And then we have our brand new Social Selling Pro, which is actually an awesome program that we've put together. We worked with David Fisher on how do you really take your online persona and offline persona, and how do we kind of put these two things together? So how do you engage online and offline and kind of make them very systematic for you? So you can see this like a lock, you have to watch the first video to unlock the next, and each of these have worksheets attached to them. So you can go in, and it's a really interactive experience, and once you complete this, it unlocks a certificate that the advisor can upload and put their name on, send out to their advisors to kind of keep them accountable. So those are some certificate programs. We have our virtual coach, which is a series of 48 videos. These are great for those veteran advisors who just kind of need that a weekly, you know, burst of information, you know, of a 5 to 10 minute video. Sometimes, and again, like we said, they're a little shorter now. And then we get into this programming area. So we have an initial training roadmap, which we developed for companies who maybe need an internship program, or if they don't have an initial training program like trustworthy selling or another proprietary sales training within kind of that boot camp initial training. So we've put together a roadmap for somebody brand spanking new in the business. So everything that they need from networking and prospecting, telephoning, practice management, and so forth. So kind of that week-long boot camp training. But I really kind of want to get into these advisor development roadmaps. And this is really great for an advisor within their first year of the business. And we've put together a whole year worth of content, and we've broken it up month by month into topics. So we have the prospecting in month 1, telephoning and the phone buddy in month 2. And I'm just going to expand this a little bit further. And how this is really meant to go is this one-on-one coaching with the managers and the advisors. So it's giving the manager kind of a framework of a weekly coaching schedule. They can do this as a self-study for the advisors, or they can work with advisors and be a little more interactive with them. So the managers are going to have access to this coaching guide, whereas the advisors will have access to the video. And then upon completion of the video, they can take a 5-question knowledge check quiz. And the purpose of that is when the advisor has their weekly meeting with their manager or their sales coach, you know, they're reviewing activity, but then also you can review, you have really this coaching guide that is made for this, you know, 15 to 20 minute coaching session that you can have. And you know, it says everything that you need to have this session. So, you know, what questions do you have about the self-study? And then we have kind of some sample questions and sample responses. We also have some role-playing exercises. So kind of building upon that, you know, developing that referral mindset is where, you know, it's just going to add that extra layer of value. So it makes the managers look good, and then it really gives your advisors that extra kind of coaching that, you know, they may not have had otherwise. So I'm going to go back. Oops, excuse me. So we're going to go back, and so you know, essentially that any advisor within their first year will get assigned the advisor development roadmap in year 1. Years 2 and 3 is the same concept, except we don't have quizzes or coaching guides, because we already know that the advisors are, you know, they need less hand holding. But let's say I'm going to go into actually month 1, and I want to assign this to my advisors, or anybody within their first year, I should say. So you'll enroll others. Again, it's taking me to the backside of the university, where it's just automatically going to populate the Prospecting 101 in the advisor roadmap. And I can choose who needs to, you know, be assigned this. I can assign it to myself. I enroll, and then it's just going to give you a confirmation. And then now I've received that email notification. Here's a success tab. And now I can come back and, you know, check in to see what my advisor has been doing. So if I go back, so I'm going to switch back into the front end of the university. I'll click on kind of the home page, and it takes just a second for it to kind of show up on the dashboard. And you know, actually I had assigned that to another profile, so it's not going to show up, but I did get that email notification. But I will show you. If I go to the back, so if I go to the upper right hand side and we go to the admin page, it's going to take me to the back. So we're going to kind of default on reports. It's giving me an idea of kind of what's going on, but I'm going to go back into enrollments. And now I'm going to look at all the courses that I've enrolled to my advisors. And then I'm going to go into, you know, we can show the enrolled users. And so we can see developing a telephoning mindset. I can click on this and it is going to give me kind of that bird's eye view of what that person has completed. So I can see I've completed everything. They've scored 100% and they've just got one more video that they need to complete. So that can prompt me to kind of engage more with my advisor. So I'm going to go back to the front. And that was, so we have our coaching resources. So that's basically where you're going to find, again, this, the roadmap that we've laid out. So you can assign, again, that, assign prospecting. You don't have to go in order. It can really be customized to the needs of that advisor. So we're going to build another layer, and I'm going to go into classroom training. So classroom training now, we're kind of switching gears just a little bit. We went from that one-on-one training, and so now we're adding another layer, which is that classroom training content. So the if you have that, we used to call it the Monday morning meeting, where you'd have some kind of activity report talking about activity, what you're going to do for the week, and then a sales builder. So these are a little longer, and we've broken it up again into sales skills, product knowledge, practice management, and motivation. We've broken it up further. But what I like to do to keep it less kind of overwhelming is what we put together this classroom training curriculum months 1 through 24. And this is where when I was in training and development at an agency, this is kind of where I lived. Because we've broken this up into this 24-month curriculum. And you're going to get like a mix of topics. So we got a sales skills, a product knowledge, practice management, and a motivation at the end of the month, because we know we gotta pump up at the end of the month, get those sales in, right? So if I click into this, our sales cycle power phrases, we have these videos are edited a little bit longer, so you can see it's just a little bit under 20 minutes, but we have a training guide here, which I'm going to click on. And again, just like the coaching resources, that one pager, we have several pages, because this is going to be a longer presentation, and we have everything that you need to teach. And then we get right into it. We even provide an overview of the session. And what I used to do, because I wanted to engage more than just the new advisors in my agency, I wanted to start engaging some of these veteran advisors, some of the veteran advisors who think they're, no one's paying attention to them. I would copy and paste this into an Outlook email notification, or an Outlook email calendar invite, and I'd invite the entire agency. And what started happening was I started getting a mix of the new advisors with the veteran advisors, and they'd start talking about their sales cycle power phrases. So not only am I having Chris Kuhn, who is a top advisor, sharing his information, but I'm also getting that some great tips from my veteran advisors who decided that this was a great overview, and I want to hear what this guy has to say. So we're not watching the full 20 minutes up front. We've got a 6-minute running time. So we'll pause after 6 minutes, ask a few questions, do a little debrief. We'll finish the presentation and then kind of go a little bit further. So some questions, answers here, and then a debriefing, and we'll wrap up. The last page is always a participant handout that you can print out or download and email it to the advisors who are going to be participating in that. So really lots of engagement here, and just to really giving your managers the tools to just really crush it, right? So I'm going to go back to the classroom training. So that's why I really love this like prefabricated 1 through 20 month curriculum, because if I am a manager who doesn't quite um, have a system in place, they can go straight into this classroom training, and it's really going to give them a great mix of content. This is um, you don't have to, watch the first one to watch the second one. You can come in and leave at any time they want. And then, sometimes, you might not find something that would speak to your audience. So we have a checklist here that kind of lays out the entire curriculum that managers can print out and, use as kind of a notes of, putting together what they like and what they dislike, and really starting to customize that classroom training for their organization. So going back, so that we talked about kind of showing you, making this easy from a advisor perspective, content navigator. We talked about coaching resources and classroom training. So everything is right here. Kind of went through that a little quickly, but I'm going to pivot now back into our PowerPoint. All right, so I'm going to kick this off now to Melissa Peck, and she will kind of give you an overview of kind of the engagement outside of the university. So Melissa, take it away.
Thank you so much, Maureen. Can you confirm that you can hear me? Give me a thumbs up or a yes in the chat box,
Yes,
and let me know if you're able to hear me. And if, Maureen, you can pass the controls to the PowerPoint, thank you very much. Thank you very much for including me in the presentation today. I'm really excited for you to have seen just how much content there is on the university, first of all, but also the depth of the instructional design and how we're using different modalities to really engage the advisors as well as the managers in different ways, whether that's through just-in-time learning and a self-study approach, or whether that's in a group instructor-led training environment, as Maureen just showed you, or bridging the two with one-on-one coaching or small group coaching through those curated learning paths. So that speaks a lot to how we're engaging the learners with valuable content in the ways that they can really learn from it. Now we're going to talk about how our team provides support around engagement outside of the learning platform itself. And there are many ways that we do that. So let's just start off. We really, in the client success team, think about communication systems for success. And when we think about engagement, that really revolves around 3 key areas. The first of those is content marketing. We have a system in place that you're going to see in just a moment for letting your learners know what's available to them on the platform. As you've heard both Harry and Joey say, we've been adding new content to the platform every single month for 12 years, and we have a mechanism in place to make sure that as those new items are being published, that your learners are hearing about them. We also have a very robust system for Train the Trainer. As Joey mentioned in the first session today, one of the key challenges is getting managers to really lead the charge on digital learning. So you're going to see a couple of the ways that our team has really created structure around that process of getting familiar with the platform in terms of best practices and the content itself. And then finally, we are going to talk about organizational awareness. and how our client success team, in addition to Maureen and Joey, our entire team is here to provide leverage to help your organization be fully aware of the tool and its resources. So let's take a look a little bit closer at each of these three areas. First of all, we have developed over the years a lot of really great ways to promote the content that's available in the site to the learners. Just a few of those different ways that we will promote the content to help boost engagement include things like our My HPN University weekly e-newsletter. So that's a communication that goes out to your learners that tells them one of our new videos on a weekly basis. And what's really great about those emails is that they each are single sign-on engaged so that your learner can click on the link in the email and go straight into the platform without having to use any login or credentials. So it will plop them right in front of that content, and that way they're at least getting exposed to one of our great videos every single week. And that is a really good habit to build and will go a long way to building a culture of learning across the organization. We are regularly putting a lot of thought and consideration into what kinds of content we publish. And some of our newer content has put intense focus around things like diversity and inclusion and, increasing visibility across the organization. So you will find notifications about what's new, such as our courses on diversity and inclusion, included in those communications. We share best practices like leveraging our content navigator so that your advisors know where to get started and know how they can begin their journey and learning with some really focused and directed learning strategies. And finally, we also have a very active social media presence, especially on LinkedIn. And we're finding that as we promote and boost our own new publishing and new content, including new events, live events, by the way, we have a lot of great conversations and exchanges going on in those threads, and that is yet one more way that we are supporting a philosophy of lifelong learning and a culture of learning across organizations, really. So let's talk about our Train the Trainer programs. We heard from Joey that engaging managers is one of the top challenges for building digital learning in an organization. And for that reason, our team has built some very structured learning for the managers themselves about how to utilize the platform. One of those critical key performance indicators is our manager certification program. This program, we have found, is a direct driver of ROI with the platform. We have found, after having over 2,000 managers get certified on the platform, that there is a direct measurable correlation between organizations who enforce their managers becoming certified on the platform and those who achieve the greatest adoption and engagement and return on investment in the platform. So let's take a look at what's included in the manager certification program. This is a one-time training event that each manager should go through when they start with the platform. Let me back up a second. Just want to take it back one frame here. Thanks. We start the program with a couple of short video tutorials on all the best practices for using the site. So your managers will learn about our directed learning approach. They'll learn about how to browse the content library and how they can enroll their learners in different kinds of courses and individual videos. They're also going to learn about the classroom training modules so that they have a good understanding of how they can equip themselves. So after we've gone through these short video tutorials about how the site is best used, how to really connect the dots on all of the different kinds of content that we have available throughout the site, then we, of course, have a digital learning quiz to check the manager's understanding of what they're seeing on the site. It's not rocket science. It's really just designed to confirm exactly their understanding of all these best practices. And then finally, and most critically, what they're going to see is a digital scavenger hunt activity. So what we're challenging the managers to do here is to learn the site by using the site. So they're going to have to roll up their sleeves and get in and push all the buttons and really get comfortable using all the different functions of the site. And once they've completed that, they can get a digital certificate that says they are certified as a manager on the HPN University. And this really is the key leading indicator, as I've said, for success with the platform as a whole. And we're going to talk in tomorrow's session about building awareness and how managers are really driving adoption and engagement with the platform. So this, I cannot stress or overstress how critical the manager certification program is, and also how we have proven time and time again that this is an effective way to get your managers using the site. So now, after we've gotten them certified in this one-time program, the next thing that we're going to do is provide regular weekly touch points with them on all of those different best practices so that they continue to learn and be reminded of all the different ways that there are to use the site as a manager. And so there are a couple of different, there's 13 sessions in this roadmap, and those go out over a course of 13 weeks. Some of the critical sessions that you will find in this roadmap include how to use the Content Navigator, which Maureen demonstrated earlier, how to enroll yourself and others in content, utilizing skills and systems assessments, so those PDF worksheets and other non-video based tools. Implementing weekly classroom training. So Maureen talked and showed you how you can either cherry pick modules by topic from our classroom training section, or you can follow our prefabricated curriculum and just simply follow module by module each week. So you can get a reminder as well as some best practices on how to really create a learning program in a group training environment. You will also see how to utilize the initial training roadmap, and that is the curated program for the newest advisors, those who are just getting started with their careers. Implementing the advisor development roadmaps themselves, years 1 through 3. And finally, maximizing leadership content. So how can the managers themselves utilize the HPN University platform for its content on recruiting and selection and coaching and accountability and personal leadership development as well. So all of those things and more are included in the Manager Best Practices Roadmap, and this is a great way, as I've said, to just keep dripping additional best practices out over a period of weeks. And so finally, we're going to talk about organizational awareness. This is something that is extremely important when we think about building a culture of learning in your organization. It really does take a village, and we are working in partnership with your training and development team, we want to make sure that we are communicating all of the important content, best practices, and strategies for using the HPN University across the entire organization, not just your field managers. So when I talk about organizational awareness, I'm talking about connecting with your regional executives. We know that your RVPs or DVPs, whatever your organization refers to your regional executives as, are the arteries of the organization, and they are really in the right seat to be able to promote great content, to drive initiatives and expectations about engagement with the platform. So we have created a campaign called the HPN University Advocates, and this communication provides insights on best practices for using the site, new content that's being published, and also key events, key initiatives, and strategies, as I mentioned, for really building engagement across the organization. Beyond the regional executives, we also want to engage with your functional departments, whether those be the life insurance specialists or the marketing department or even the staff teams. We have training, onboarding, and awareness driving best practices for each of those so that they can leverage the university as well with whatever they need, whether they're coaching or mentoring or even conducting group training sessions or providing support in the case of staff to regional executives and field leaders to assign content to advisors or pull reports and track activity. So all of those departments are essential for driving organizational awareness of the platform. So I covered administrative teams in that as well. We really want you to understand that the university value prop is not just in the platform and the content itself, but also in our team, our instructional design capacities, our abilities to personalize the experience and provide a really seamless rollout and effective communication channels across the organization. We want you to think of us as an extension of your team, and that is something that is so unique and special about the HPN team and the HPN University.
Thank you, Melissa Peck. And the great thing, Mel, about this entire thing, you all, is no mask is required. This is all digital. In a world where we've been upended by the pandemic and everyone's moved to virtual classroom and having to convert to digital resources, HPN, through the university, has been in this space for 12 years. And so our clients didn't miss a beat this year when it was time to kind of make the pivot to virtual classroom and virtual learning. A few things I just want to point out. I walked through in the opening session about our content library, the various types of content that we have. Keep in mind, most often we're working with companies to build custom learning paths, whether that's for new advisor development or experienced advisor development. We're integrated into their learning management system to complement your existing proprietary training, which Melissa is going to talk further about on Sunday. So it's never one size fits all, right? It depends on the needs of your organization, which is why it's important if you have any interest in the HPN University, you consult with us and let us find out about your existing learning and development and content and learning management systems so we can identify any gaps in areas where we might be able to complement and be of help to help fill those. A couple other points I'll make around coaching resources and classroom training that Maureen had touched on. And the coaching resource, I've been in the business for 25 years. What I find is there's quite a few times when sales managers, depending on what level of tenure they are, they get into those weekly skill builder meetings and they go, oh, how's it going? How did the Cubs do last night? What do you got going on this weekend? Okay, well, good to see you. Talk to you next week. And nothing developmental oriented happened there. What we provide through the advisor development roadmaps or virtual coach or some of these other resources that Maureen showed you is a track for your frontline managers to run on. so that they're assigning content and debriefing it in one-on-one coaching sessions with guides that we're giving them to lead those conversations. A couple points I'd make on the classroom training, whether that's virtual or whether that's face-to-face. Now with 2 clicks of a button, your managers have 45 minutes to an hour's worth of content on demand with little to no prep time. Maureen mentioned that those videos are 15 to 20 minutes, so a little bit longer than the micro-learning. That's great news. That means that the video is going to do most of the heavy lifting for your managers, and they don't have to be the subject matter expert. Let's face it, many of your managers aren't experts in social media or target marketing or some of these things that their reps need development around. So to be able to pipe in the top experts and top producers in the industry digitally at the local level to be the subject matter expert in these areas is huge for your field managers, and they appreciate it because it removes a lot of that prep time off of their shoulders. So I just want to remind you that on Thursday, 2 days from today, from 11 to 11:45, Melissa's going to take a deep dive into enterprise onboarding best practices. This is process, resources, and more. So how do we go about onboarding your field? How do we go about integrating with single sign-on technology? And what does that look like from a resource standpoint that we provide? How do we go about training your managers and advisors on leveraging the platform? And how do we work with your home office team, as she mentioned, to be an extension of your team so that we're helping you with not only onboarding, but ongoing engagement at the home office level, the regional level, down to the field level. Then from 12 to 1 p.m. Central, I have the honor of leading an executive panel discussion. We have 2 people from the head office who have implemented HPN University in their culture. One person, Kristen Blakesley, is from One America, and we're going to talk about how they implemented an onboarding in a system where they're a pure GA system, where they don't have total control over their managers, and yet all of their field has embraced it, and it's going incredibly well. We'll share the success with you on that. I know we have a number of multi-line home office representatives today. We're going to have Cooper Carver from American National. It's a large multi-line organization that's going to talk specifically about custom learning paths and how they leverage the content for the intern program and how they drive usage and adoption among experienced producers in their company. And finally, I've got my good friend Jay Mcmahon from Freedom 55 Financial, who's been a user of or leverages the HPN University for 10 years now as an advisor, as a frontline manager, as a home office executive, and now leading one of the top firms in Canada with Freedom 55. So some of these things about, weekly skill builders and coaching resources and things like that, he's going to share specifically how his firm does that to drive usage and adoption. So I want to thank you on behalf of the entire HPN team today for being here with us. We know that you all are incredibly busy, so we appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us. Hopefully this was valuable. We have recorded these sessions, so you all will be receiving a link to the archived version of this if you want to pass along to any colleagues. And feel free to ask us any questions at info@hoopus.com. That's info@hoopus.com if you think about stuff after the fact from today's session. So take care, everyone. We'll see you on Thursday, and we'll talk to you soon.